They moved in silence, invisible, unseen, unshaken. Real ninjas weren't warriors of brute force, they were masters of the mind. While movies turned them into myths, the truth is far more powerful because their greatest weapon wasn't a blade, it was their ability to stay calm while surrounded, to wait in the shadows when every part of them screamed to act, to disappear not from sight, but from ego, emotion, and fear. The ninja path was never about violence. It was about absolute self-control. In ancient texts like the Shoninki, ninja masters described techniques not for fighting, but for thinking, for seeing through deception, staying composed in chaos, and detaching from fear completely. Their mental strength came not from motivation, but from a system, specific, repeatable, and brutally effective. A path designed to forge a mind that doesn't break, no matter what. In this video, you're going to learn that system. A forgotten four-stage process tested through centuries of stealth, sabotage, and survival. And by the end, you won't just understand mental toughness, you'll know how to build it, silently, invisibly, every single day. But first, we begin where all true ninja training begins, not with weapons, but with perception. The first lesson in becoming mentally unbreakable isn't strength, it's awareness. In Japanese, the word is Ninshiki, not just seeing, but perceiving. Ninja were trained to observe everything, patterns in people's behavior, shifts in light, the sound of a footstep behind a wall. But what made them powerful wasn't just noticing the world, it was noticing themselves, their thoughts, their impulses, their fears. You can't control what you're not aware of, and you can't train a mind you haven't yet observed. This is where most people fail. They try to build discipline without first realizing how often they act unconsciously, pulled by emotion, triggered by noise, hijacked by habit. The ninja saw awareness as the first weapon, a tool to break the illusion of control and finally gain it. In the Shoninki, Natori Masazumi wrote that the shinobi must know his own heart better than his enemy. This wasn't poetry, it was survival. The more clearly you see your inner world, the less power the outer world has over you. Think about it. How often do you react without thinking? How often does a distraction pull your focus before you even notice it happened? Ninjas trained this out of themselves. They practiced watching the mind like a shadow, noticing each reaction, catching it, releasing it, over and over until the mind quieted and clarity appeared. This kind of clarity isn't natural, it's trained. And it starts with one simple but brutal practice: stillness. In the hidden schools of ninjutsu, apprentices were made to sit in silence for hours, blindfolded, breathing slowly, listening to everything. Not to relax, to sharpen, to hear the insect crawling, the floor creaking, their own heartbeat. Every distraction became a drill. Every moment of boredom, a battlefield. You want ninja-level awareness? Start with just 10 minutes a day. No phone, no music, no movement. Just you, your thoughts, and silence. At first, it will be unbearable. That's the point. You'll want to quit. And that reaction is what you're training to observe. If you can't sit with your mind for 10 minutes, how do you expect to master it under pressure? Mental toughness doesn't start when life gets hard. It starts when you stop avoiding yourself, when you stop escaping discomfort, when you start paying attention to the war going on inside, because that is the war you need to win first. Mental strength isn't just about what you face, it's about what you endure. The Japanese call it Gaman, silent endurance, the ability to suffer with dignity without complaint. Ninjas weren't just trained to survive pain, they were trained to expect it, to welcome it, because discomfort wasn't a punishment, it was a forge. Imagine being tasked with climbing a mountain, barefoot, in winter, not as punishment, but as training. That's what ninja apprentices endured. Their masters knew. A mind that seeks comfort collapses when comfort disappears. So, they stripped it away, on purpose. No heat, no soft beds, no praise. Just cold, hunger, silence, and repetition. In the West, we see hardship as something to avoid. But in the ninja code, hardship is something to use. Pain becomes a partner. Fatigue becomes feedback. Cold becomes concentration. Gaman teaches that the moment you stop complaining, you gain power, because now the struggle no longer owns you. You're not trying to escape it. You're using it to carve a sharper version of yourself. Gaman isn't passive suffering, it's active restraint. You feel the burn, but you keep going. You feel the fear, but you move forward. You feel the weight, but you don't collapse. Because every time you choose to endure, you steal strength from the very thing trying to break you. Modern life has trained you to avoid this. Too hot, air conditioning, too tired, quit, too bored, scroll, too hungry, tap your screen and food arrives. And every time you surrender to that impulse, you lose a little bit of yourself. Your edge dulls. But the ninja path sharpens. It refines. It teaches you to say, I will not run. Not because it's easy, but because running never made anyone strong. Want to train Gaman? Start with discomfort you can control. Cold showers, fasting, hard workouts, long walks without headphones, boredom without distraction. Commit to one form of voluntary struggle every day. No shortcuts, no rewards, no applause, just presence inside the pain. The point isn't to win, the point is to stay. Remember, the ninja didn't become strong by avoiding struggle. They became strong by choosing it, again and again, until the pain became normal, and quitting became unthinkable. Discipline gets all the hype. But ninja discipline? That was something else entirely. It was invisible. They didn't post about their routines. They didn't show off their training. Because the deeper the training, the quieter it became. This is the principle of Unmitsu Shugyō, silent discipline. The ninja understood a brutal truth. The need for recognition weakens you. If your effort depends on being seen, then your strength is fake. Real discipline is what you do when there's no applause, no audience, no reward, just the quiet voice in your head that says, do it anyway. Ninja life was built around this. Training in the dark, missions no one would know about, victories that couldn't be claimed. They were expected to act with excellence and disappear. No one celebrated them. And that was the test. Could they keep showing up when no one was watching? Could they push past their limits even when it didn't count for status, followers, or praise? Most people today fail this test. They say they're disciplined, but only when it's convenient, when it feels good, when someone's watching. But when the pressure fades and the spotlight disappears, so does their effort. That's not discipline. That's performance. And performance isn't what creates transformation. Ninjas trained in isolation. They practiced alone. They built routines into everything, from how they walked to how they tied their sandals, because they understood that every small action shaped the mind. You don't become mentally tough by doing big things once. You become tough by doing small things daily, without fail, without excuses, without needing validation. In fact, the less praise you need, the stronger you become. Because now your motivation comes from within. You're not chasing rewards, you're reinforcing identity. You're saying, this is who I am no matter what. That kind of identity can't be shaken, not by failure, not by fear, not even by defeat. Want to build silent discipline? Create a system that doesn't rely on emotion. Pick 3 daily non-negotiables, small, clear, and consistent. Do them no matter how you feel. No skipping, no rationalizing. These are your training drills, not for the world, for your mind. It might be 20 push-ups, journaling, or a cold shower. It might be sitting in silence for 15 minutes or writing a single honest sentence. It doesn't matter what. It matters that you don't break the chain. Each repetition, no matter how small, tells your mind, we do hard things. We follow through. That's how you build identity. That's how you build power. Silent discipline turns your entire life into a dojo. You're no longer someone who trains occasionally. You are the training. Everything you do becomes part of your preparation. The way you speak, the way you sit, the way you breathe. Each moment is either sharpening your blade or dulling it. Choose wisely. Most people separate discipline from daily life. They think of training as something that happens in the gym, or during a challenge, or inside a morning routine. But for the ninja, training never ended, because life was the training. This is Shinobi no Michi, the way of the ninja. It's not a routine, it's a worldview, a way of seeing every moment as part of your evolution, a way of walking through the world with awareness, with control, and with purpose. Ninjas didn't stop being ninja after a mission. They didn't clock out. Every gesture, every decision, every breath was a reflection of their path. When they washed their tools, they did it with the same focus as climbing a wall. When they bowed to a teacher, they did it with the same respect they'd give a life or death situation. Because the mindset was always the same. I am in training. This is the shift most people never make. They treat discipline like a switch, on when needed, off when it's inconvenient. But the ninja never turned it off. Because they knew that how you do anything is how you do everything. If you cut corners in small things, your mind gets used to cutting corners. If you complain about traffic, how will you handle a real crisis? Shinobi no Michi teaches that every moment is a test. How you respond to boredom, how you speak to someone you dislike, how you act when no one's watching. These aren't neutral, they're signals. They're sharpening or softening you. You don't need to wear a mask or scale a castle wall to live like a ninja. You just need to shift how you view your life. The next time someone annoys you, don't react. Train. The next time you feel lazy, don't indulge. Train. The next time you want to quit, don't. Train. Even your smallest habits become part of the mission. The way you answer a text, the way you close a door, the way you respond when plans fall apart. Nothing is too small to matter. Nothing is exempt from the way. Your work becomes your dojo. Your relationships become your battlefield. Your thoughts become your opponent. You're always practicing. The only question is, what are you practicing? Weakness or control? Resentment or resilience? Chaos or calm? The ninja didn't hope to become strong one day. They made strength their default setting by embedding the path into their identity. You don't need motivation when your entire way of being is built around the path. You don't need reminders when your life is the reminder. Shinobi no Michi isn't about becoming something new. It's about becoming what you already are. Beneath the noise, beneath the excuses, beneath the layers of modern weakness. A warrior of the mind, a master of the moment. A shadow that moves through life untouched, not because it avoids chaos, but because it commands itself within it. Most people will never become mentally tough, not because they can't, but because they never decide to. They wait for motivation, they wait for the right time, they wait for life to get easier. But the ninja didn't wait, they trained. And now, you know how they did it. Through awareness, through endurance, through silent discipline, through living the way, every moment, every breath, every choice. This isn't a 30-day challenge. It's not a trend. It's a path. One you walk alone, without applause, without shortcuts, and without excuses. But if you walk it, if you really commit, the person on the other side will be unrecognizable. Not harder, sharper, not louder, quieter, not perfect, present. Start with one habit today, something uncomfortable, something inconvenient, something your old self would avoid. And do it, not to win, but to train. Because as the ninja knew, when the moment of pressure comes, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your practice. If this video made you feel something, subscribe, like, and come back when you need a reminder of who you're becoming. This is the way of the ninja. Quiet, relentless, unbreakable.